All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about something that sits at a really critical intersection: technology, health, and, basic fairness. We're looking at artificial intelligence and how it's both this incredible promise for women's health, but also carries some profound risks. It's a tool that could solve some of medicine's oldest problems, or it could make them a whole lot worse. So, let's get into it. And let's be super clear about what's at stake here. This isn't about some quirky AI making a funny mistake. This quote just cuts right to the heart of it. When AI gets it wrong in healthcare, it's not funny. It can be absolutely devastating, denying someone life-saving care or just robbing them of their quality of life. So to really understand where AI could go wrong or right, we actually have to look backwards first. See, the whole idea of AI is that it learns from data. But what happens when that data is, well, fundamentally broken to begin with? This gets us to a huge historical blind spot in the way we've practiced medicine. For decades, and I mean for most of modern medicine, the foundation was built almost entirely on male bodies. It's kind of shocking, but until 1993, women were just left out of most clinical trials in the US. Now, that NIH Revitalization Act was a huge step forward, no doubt. But you can't just erase decades of missing data. The legacy of that exclusion, it's still here. It's baked right into our textbooks, our diagnostic tools, and, you guessed it, the very data we're now using to train our most advanced AI. And this isn't some abstract historical problem. These are the real-world consequences. I mean, look at these numbers. They're staggering. Women are up to 30% more likely to be misdiagnosed. They wait, on average, 4 years longer for a diagnosis than men with the same condition. And this one, women are 50% more likely to have a heart attack misdiagnosed. That's the classic, terrifying example. Symptoms get written off as anxiety because they don't look like a man's heart attack. This is what happens when the default human is male. And if the human cost wasn't enough, look at the economic cost. This is not a niche issue. Closing this health gap isn't just the right thing to do, it could unlock $1 trillion every single year. That's money from women being healthier, more productive, and participating more fully in the economy. So fixing this literally benefits everyone. Okay, so into this world of flawed data and systemic problems comes AI. It's this shiny new tool that's supposed to fix everything, right? It can see patterns we can't. But this is where it gets tricky. AI is a double-edged sword. The very same tool that could finally correct our historical biases could also put them on steroids, amplifying them on a scale we've just never seen before. And this chart, I think, tells a fascinating story. A huge majority of people, 76%, they get it. They see the danger. But then, look at the drop. Less than half of us feel like we actually understand how the bias gets in there. And then the confidence just plummets. Only about 1/3 of women are confident that the AI tools being built today have their needs in mind. That's a huge gap between seeing a problem and trusting the people who say they're solving. So here it is, the great peril. AI is a learning machine. You feed it our biased medical history, and it's not just going to learn those biases, it's going to automate them. It's going to entrench them and scale them up at a speed that is just mind-boggling. You know, a biased doctor is a problem, but a biased algorithm deployed in thousands of hospitals, that's a systemic catastrophe waiting to happen. But let's flip the coin, because it is not all doom and gloom. Not at all. The promise of AI is that it can also be an incredibly powerful tool for good. If we're intentional about how we build it, AI can do things humans really struggle with. It can sift through millions of patient records to spot a hidden disease that's been missed for years. It can standardize care so your diagnosis doesn't depend on which hospital you walk into. It can finally create a system that centers women's health. This slide just lays it out so clearly. You have these two futures in front of us. On the left, it's pretty bleak. AI locks in our worst instincts. It misreads heart attacks, it makes bad recommendations, it makes diagnostic delays a permanent feature. But on the right, that's a future where AI is an engine for equity. It's finding diseases we used to miss. It's recalibrating medicine for female bodies. And, this is key, it's actually listening to patients to get better over time. So, how do we get the future on the right and not the one on the left? Well, the The great news is, this isn't a coin toss. It's not up to chance. There's a clear blueprint for how we can build AI for healthcare the right way. It just means we have to rethink the whole process, from the ground up.
And this is basically it. This is the roadmap. First, who's in the room when you're building this stuff? You can't just have coders. You need patients, you need ethicists, you need women's health experts from day one. Second, you gotta demand better data. Insist on data that's broken down by sex and includes what patients are actually experiencing. Third, you can't just test if the model is accurate overall. You have to stress test it for equity. Does it work for Black women, for older women, for everyone? And last, you're not done when you launch it. You have to keep watch, audit it in the real world, and give patients an actual way to say, hey, I think your algorithm got it wrong.
And I want to pause on this term because it is a total game changer. Patient-reported outcomes, or PROs. This is data that comes directly from the patient. It's not filtered through a doctor's notes or interpretation. It's, my pain is at an 8 today, or I can't walk up the stairs without getting winded. For so long, medicine has kind of dismissed this stuff as subjective. But building it into our data, that is a revolutionary step towards creating AI that actually understands the full, messy, human side of being sick or healthy. So really, we are at an inflection point. The path that healthcare takes from here isn't set in stone. It's a choice. And it's a future that we're all building right now with every single algorithm we design and decide to use. And this, right here, this might be the most important piece of the puzzle. You could call it the power disconnect. Women make 80% of the healthcare decisions for their families. They are the super users of the healthcare system. And yet, you look at who's building the technology for the future of that system, less than 15% of AI researchers are women. When the people using the product and the people building it are this disconnected, well, that's where bias finds a way to creep in. Which brings us right back to where we started. AI is a mirror. It's just reflecting what we show it. Our history, our data, our values, all of it. Flaws and all. So the fundamental question, the one we all have to ask ourselves, as patients, as tech builders, as just citizens, is what do we want to teach it about the future we hope to live in? Thanks for joining this explainer.